The Art of Being Ruled. Wyndham Lewis. Original publication 1926. 1989 edition. Narrated by Skeptical Waves. Part 8. The Vicious Circle. Chapter 4. The Homo, the Child of the Suffragette. To come, then, to the heart of the reason why it is worthwhile to spend so much time in analyzing this fashion. It is because in the contemporary world it is a part of the feminist revolution. It is as an integral part of feminism proper that it should be considered, a gigantic phase of the sex war. The Homo is the legitimate child of the suffragette. The reason, again, why an analysis is so difficult is this. The majority of people live in the ordinary way, at any period, principally through sensation. The atmosphere of ideas or the intellect is not congenial to them. Their reactions to their environment seldom rise into the region of clear ideas, or indeed of any detached definition at all of what happens to them. It would be a hypocrisy to pretend that it matters very much how, under such circumstances, they spend their time. The difficulty today is that, owing to the high state of organization of the different democratic communities, and the insane requirements to which liberalist doctrine has led, sensation is drilled to masquerade as intelligence. Multitudes of people who under a more reasonable system would be living, without self-consciousness or the pale cast of thought at all, animal lives of plain, unvarnished sensation, are now compelled to adopt 100 pretentious disguises. Each little sensation has to be decked out as though it were a big idea. Again, simple sensation has become ashamed of itself. It is persuaded to complicate itself, to invert itself with a movement of mechanical paradox. So, in reality, sensation pure and simple is disappearing, and a sort of spurious idea is everywhere taking its place. But side by side with this disintegration of sensation, a very learned, intricate, and ingenious philosophy of sensation is built up. The result is that the more sensation borrows from the intellect, the more it abuses it and points to sensation, which it no longer is in the purest sense, as the aim and end of life. Similarly, the more self-conscious it becomes, the more it repudiates consciousness and also, for another reason, self. The more conscious it grows, in a limited and ineffective way, the more it talks about the unconscious. It is as though it were breaking into a dithyramb about what it just no longer was. The difficulty lies, then, in 1. The propaganda for sensation. 2. The propaganda against the intellect. 3. The imitation of the intellect, and of the things of the intellect, by all that is most deeply committed to pure sensation. And 4. The movement to merge cleverly these opposites and pretend that they are one, forcing what has outstripped the human sensational average to return on its steps and put itself at the service of what it had labored to transcend. The strangest contradiction of all is that every movement away from the intelligence, and how can the term intelligence be dissociated from intellect, is encouraged in the name of intelligence. That is the secret of the difficulties that most people experience in analyzing this order of things. The male invert fashion is not by any means favorable to the woman, of course, although it is feminist. But, on the other hand, it is hostile to many things to which the average woman is hostile. Through it the stupider, more excitable and aggressive kind of woman will revenge herself on those things towards which she has always been in a position of veiled hostility, or on people she has come to regard as responsible for her misfortunes. It is often said that the male invert shelters himself behind, uses and acts through, women. But it would be equally true to put it the other way round. There are two snobberies that exercise a very great leverage in all sex fashion. Intellectual snobbery is very powerful, as has just been pointed out. It is on the score of intelligence that extreme sex revolution is effected. Social snobbery also plays a great part. To boldly concentrate on a less humdrum practice where your pleasures are concerned has always been, you are reminded, the habit of the privileged few. Membership of the highest or richest organized society, reflecting the egalitarian revolutionary glare from the masses beneath, while floating like a sumptuous emanation at a safe distance above them, is essential. To be revolutionary, yet a social snob, to be an intelligent snob, and yet to run sensation against intellect, to sniff and curl the lip at the advantages of the intellect, such are the contradictory habits that go hand in hand. We speak sometimes in these pages, says Benda in his Belphegor, of the bad taste of our democratic society. We mean to say that society of which the tastes have become those of the people, at least those that one expects of the people, namely, indifference to intellectual values, religion of emotion. We do not intend either to abuse or to flatter any especial political regime. Further, we would say willingly with an 18th century woman, I call people all those who think vulgarly and basely, the court is full of them. Actually the vulgarest people of all, it has only recently been recognized, thanks to the fashionableness of revolutionary doctrines, have always been, necessarily, in the court or among the rich. For what has a so-called upper class been but a set of people furnished with the means to gratify the most ordinary tastes? Or what is the use of riches except to enable some unpleasant fool to be vulgarer than it would otherwise be possible for him or her to be? A road to a new conception of class, in which the intelligence in reality, and not as a make-believe, took its place, would be via such analyses as these, with all their implications thoroughly apprehended.